Speakeasy at Swamp Up, Santiago 2022. Our dearest friend, speaker, Super Frog, and generally like friend of frogs forever.
For quite some time, yes.
Yes, Andres Almiray, thank you for being here. Great
Thank
to
you
see
for having me here, Baruch.
And yeah, so it's been a while since we saw each other last. Dev Nexus, but
a month ago.
Let's pretend it's been like 3 years.
Because it actually was.
Yeah, so if we excluding Dev Nexus, it's been a while.
Yes.
So what are you up to? What's going on?
Well, one of the things that I did during pandemic to keep me busy was keep working on open source projects, and I decided to create one more open source project called JReleaser.
JReleaser. It sounds like JReleaser.
It sounds like JReleaser because it is inspired by JReleaser. So, I work with a lot of Java code. That's kind of like my bread and butter.
We can see. There is,
yes, exactly, Java. There we go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I also use the pandemic to learn other languages, and specifically Go. Right. So I wrote a small command line utility to launch Maven and Gradle builds because I keep fumbling around whether I do Maven or Gradle. I was always invoking the wrong command. So I said, it's enough of that. Let's build a Go utility so that I can use it very small to launch the right thing. Yeah. But the problem that I have is, how do I release this thing, right? So I discovered JReleaser. I said,
what JReleaser does?
What JReleaser does, it allows you to build the binaries, calculate checksums, signatures, and make sure that the binary can go into the right distribution place. It could be Homebrew, it could be JFrog Artifactory, it could be a Snackcraft, it could be many different places where your consumers will download the binary very easily.
And I have to say that we worked with JReleaser for a while because we helped them get the Artifactory piece right. Now, those days, JReleaser actually does a checksum deploy to JFrog Artifactory.
Yeah.
It means that if the file didn't change, nothing will be uploaded, but a new record of artifact will be created on Artifactory. Because Artifactory has the checksum-based storage, so you can have 2 files or more than 2 files referring to the same binary, but actually showing different names. So when you run your JReleaser, and let's say you didn't check anything, but you didn't change anything, but you have actually daily builds that create all the binaries, and the binary is exactly the same, you will actually save space on Artifactory and bandwidth, and the release will be obviously much faster because nothing is actually uploaded.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm excited about JReleaser because it is an amazing project, and if you work with Go and you need a simple way to release it, you can build a very minimalistic but very powerful pipeline using JReleaser, and it's pretty awesome. So you got excited about JReleaser?
I got excited about it, yes, exactly, because when I was able to distribute my very tiny command line application and other people started to use it, I said, wow, this is great. JReleaser allows me to reach out to more potential consumers. I really wish something like this existed for Java command line interfaces, or maybe it's Node or Rust or something else. So nothing like that existed. And so one time, Max Anderson from JBank and I were chatting, and he did the same thing. I mean, in the sense that he found a way to distribute JBank to many different places. But he did it by hand. That means he used Gradle and shell scripts and so many things, so a lot of configuration. And when I told him that I had done the same thing with JReleaser for a simple Go application with just one configuration file, it's like, okay, we have to do something about this. Someone should create a tool for Java, maybe called JReleaser. And we were waiting for someone to come up, right? And no one did it.
No volunteers?
No volunteers, and they said, okay, let's roll down the sleeves and build something, and that's how the tool came to be, and hence the name, JReleaser. The idea of the tool is let you release Java binaries to many different places. Of course, Artifactory is one of the prime places where you can do this, but it's not just for Java. It's not just zip files or tar files, it's also RPMs, packages, or NuGets, any kind of binary.
Supports all of them?
Yes, every kind of binary supported by Artifactory can be published by, or can be released by JReleaser, regardless if the source code of the project is Java or is Rust or it may be Node, whatever it is, of course, my preference, if you're still writing Go code, then keep using JReleaser.
Right.
It has better integration. But for any other kind of source code or any kind of project, then JReleaser will give you the options.
Nice. So that actually started as a project for Java release,
Yes.
but now it can actually do any kind of file as long as the target platform supports it.
Exactly.
Right, right. That makes sense. And okay, so now we are obviously at DevOps conference, and everybody are like, oh, those releasers, it's kind of a hacking, a dirty way to release files. What you actually need is proper continuous delivery tools with pipelines and all this stuff, and that you will do it properly. So my question is, can we use JReleaser in a more sophisticated pipeline?
Yes, you can. The tool is built in such a way that you can test a release in your local environment, so that you can test the configuration, everything goes right. And once you're satisfied with that, you can use the same configuration in a CI/CD pipeline. And it can be any kind of CI/CD pipeline. The tool is built in such a way that if you are used to Maven or Gradle, then keep using it as a plugin. Or you can even use Ant if you want to, you're so desperate. Or you can use the command line tool for JReleaser, which will hook into any kind of environment.
Of course. And I can imagine JFrog pipelines, for example, executing JReleaser as the last step of actually distributing the binaries or making the binaries available for public or private distribution inside the JFrog platform.
And this happens because, as opposed to JReleaser splits the build step from the release step. So the build continues to work with any build tool that you have. It could be Cargo, Maven, Gradle, and what have you. And the release step is where JReleaser comes in.
Right.
So if you already have a build pipeline and the only thing that you're missing is automating the release process, this is where the tool comes in.
And you know what? This is where the need really there, because we have tons of tools to release to managed environment, to release to Kubernetes, to release to edge devices, to release somewhere where it's going to be run. But for releasing for distribution, for being able to just downloading the files as desktop applications, as plugins, as anything else, that the binary should just be there for people, that's something that you don't see a lot of solutions.
Correct, and you can see that many open source projects and commercial projects that figure out a way to do their own way of releases with the scripts, and maybe they have a changelog, or maybe they don't, maybe they have something that it looks a little bit more prettified or beautiful, or maybe they don't have release notes. Now, what tools such as JReleaser and JReleaser allow you to do is kind of bring a little bit more standardization into how we create releases, how we push out those binaries to the right locations where your consumers will prefer to download them from.
This is pretty awesome. And hey, check JReleaser out. It's great for Java, but not only.
Not only Java.
It's great for your local environment, but not only.
Correct, it also works on CI.
And it's great for very simplistic pipelines when you just build with whatever build and then release, but not only.
Correct, because it can grow as much as you want. The tool is very flexible. You can choose to just run, for example, just create a Git release, or you can also create the package managers. You can also announce to many distribution channels, such as Twitter, Slack, there are so many. But you can choose whether you want one thing or the other or the next, depending on your specific needs. That means the tool bends to your needs, not the other way around.
That's the best tools are here to help us, not to dictate what we should do. And that's exactly how it should be.
Exactly.
Andres, thank you very much. It was
Thank
a pleasure.
you very much, Baruch.
And people check out JReleaser. It's pretty awesome. Cheers.